From the time companies were used in Malaysia, the actions of dishonest and fraudulent directors have attracted much public attention. In the early 1970s, Amos Daw and the Mossberg Group were the bywords of poor corporate governance. The next decade saw the rise of Georgetown, the Karen Affair and BMF. The trend continued into this century. Hence, when the 1MDB frauds were designed in Malaysia around 2009, the precedents for dishonest behavior by directors going unpunished in Malaysia were legion. The conditions were thus fertile for fraud to be planned and implemented in the 1MDB scandals. Ladies and gentlemen, it should always be remembered that 1MDB is a company incorporated under the Companies Act 1965 of Malaysia. Despite having a paid-up share capital of 1 million ringgit, just 1 million ringgit, 1MDB managed to issue 4 bonds, which were purchased by the globe's most sophisticated bankers, totaling 42 billion, perhaps the greatest gearing in modern capitalism. The new government, which took office after the historic results of GE14 in May last year, is adamant about reducing and ultimately eliminating corruption. The best method of restoring trust in the corporate and commercial environment in Malaysia is to vigorously apply the law against wrongdoers. Our laws have generally been first-rate. What was sadly lacking was enforcement. Thus, the former Prime Minister was charged within 2 months of him losing power at the ballot box. He is currently facing criminal prosecution in 2 1MDB trials. More than 20 other directors are facing criminal prosecutions. If the enforcement message of the new government remains loud and clear, wrongdoing ought to reduce. Nothing concentrates the mind more of an individual than a real threat of prosecution followed by imprisonment. The theme says it starts with you. I suggest that having regard to the massive responsibilities thrust on directors of our companies in driving the national economy, the training required of them is shockingly minimal. Unlike professionals like doctors and engineers, there is no requirement for any education or training for directors. But training is a challenge, having regard to sheer numbers. If a typical public listed company has, say, 5 directors, the total number is 5,000 directors. Now, that may be manageable. But if one turns to the 500,000 private limited companies which may be trading, and let's assume they have 3 directors each, the grand total is 1.5 million directors. For all of us interested in ensuring companies continue to be in the forefront of the nation's economic activities, serious thought must be given to educating and training directors, not just on basic legal concepts of duties of directors and the like, but more fundamentally, values of honesty, integrity, and trustworthiness. Thank you.